Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're talking about finding a rate from a graph. So there's a couple of things just within the description and within the question itself that it's implying that we have to know. So we have to be able to break this question down to be able to know how to answer it. So the first part is just informative. It's just telling us what the graph represents, right? Graph shows the speed of a subway car. Now, to find the speed in miles per minute is what it's asking us to do. So we got to look for a keyword per, which that's where we're going to be dividing. So that means whatever's to the left is going to be our numerator, and whatever's to the right is going to be our denominator. Now it does split, but to the left is our numerator, so miles is our numerator. So I'm going to look down here at our graph and look for the word miles. Well, this says minutes, so I look over on the other axis and I find miles. So that tells me whatever my y value is, I'm going to use. Now I have two of them. Which one do I use? Whichever. Because to be honest, since this is a line, what we do for one here, we could do for the other. What I mean is we're going to be working with these coordinates to figure it out, hence why we're looking for x and then going to be looking for, looking for y then x. So I can choose either of my y values, 1/4 or 1 1/2. I like smaller numbers, so I'm going to choose the one closer to 0, 1/4. The next thing I'm going to do is realize that the first unit after the word per here is going to be my denominator, or after the word that tells me to divide. So that means I'm looking for minute. Well, I already know miles was on the y-axis. I only have two, so that means minutes have to be here, and there it is. So that means I'm going to choose my x value to be my denominator. When I do that, I'm going to have a fraction that looks like this. Okay, I'm going to have 1/4 as my numerator. See, miles is my numerator, and 1/4 was my y, and miles is on y. Then I have my x value be my denominator. That's 1/2. Now there's two ways we can go about solving this. At this point, it really doesn't matter which one we do. If you're more comfortable working with decimals and then using a calculator, go for it. We're going to go over that method as a matter of fact. There's my calculator. Hopefully it's not too much of a shine and you'll be able to see on the screen. Let's double check. You can see the 0, so we're good to go. What I can do, I'm going to solve this both ways, both as fraction and as decimal. So I'm going to know that 1/4 is the same thing as 0.25. Or I'm going to see 1/4 and do 1 divided by 4, because it's all as a fraction, it's always numerator divided by denominator, 0.25. That's what I had, so I'm good to go there. Over 1/2. Well, 1/2 is the same thing as 0.5. Now I should know that by now, but if I need to find it, it's 1 divided by 2, just like it's 1 divided by 2. That fraction bar always means divide. 0.5, that's what I got. Now, what I want in miles per minute, notice how this is singular. I want a singular answer. I want this to be equal to 1. So, what do I need to do? Well, there's a couple of ways I could think about it. The easiest thing to do is to convert this fraction to a single decimal, which means I'm going to take 0.25 and I'm going to divide it by 0.5. That's going to give me 0.5, or 0.5 over 1. Now, I just showed on the calculator how I got that answer, but here's another way I could have gotten that answer. How many halves does it take to make a whole? Becomes the question. Well, I need 2 halves, so if I multiply this by 2, I should get 1. So 0.5 times 2 equals 1, just like our calculator shows. But what I do to the denominator, I also have to do to the numerator. So 0.25 times 2. So if I have 2/4 times 2, I should get 50 cents. There we go. That's another way we could have solved the same thing. You don't have to do all of this. The easiest thing to do is to turn all your fractions into decimals, then take your fraction that's here with decimals and turn it into a unit rate just by dividing the numerator by denominator. and you get the answer. Another way we could have thought through it is this multiple, how do I get this 0.5 to be 1 and do all that? That's the mental math. What is in green is mental math, a whole different step and process. Now, the other thing we could have done, we could have solved just using the fractions themselves. And what we would need to do this is recognize this is the same thing, or equal to 1/4 divided by 1/2, and then I'm going to keep, change, and flip. So that means I'm going to keep my 1/4 as 1/4. I'm going to change my division to multiplication. And then I'm going to flip my fraction. So the numerator becomes the denominator, and the denominator becomes the numerator, which is all I did here. And then what I've got to do is I've got to multiply across, because that's how I multiply fractions. So 1 times 2 is 2 over 4 times 1, because I'm multiplying across, 4 times 1 is 4. And then when I simplify that, I would need to take the common factor of 2 out of both of these. So that that's going to be equal to 1 over 2. It's really fun color coordinating all this. Notice how we get the same answer. But Mr. Spees, that says 0.5 over 1. Well, that's the same thing. 0.5 is the same thing as half, is it not? And over 1, anything divided by 1 is itself. So up here, we actually needed to go one step further and just say this is 0.5. So here we got a decimal, here we got a fraction. They mean the same thing. Both of these processes got us the exact same answer. Now the thing is, it says find the speed per minute. Now per is a rate, which means we need a fraction. Kind of. Again, that's why I kind of wanted to stop here. Our answer to this question is either 0.5 miles, and we just rewrite this little statement here, miles per minute, and those are abbreviations. MI is abbreviation for miles, MIN is the abbreviation for minute, or we can say 1/2 miles per minute, just depending on how we solved it, and we should be correct. Now, whether the website which one the website is going to accept, I honestly don't know. More than likely it would accept this. It should accept that. I'd be able to go back and add points if it counts you off. Make sure you email me any questions that you have so I can get them incorporated tomorrow's lesson. Stay safe, guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening.